On a crisp autumn evening, the skies above Washington, D.C. blazed with the surreal glow of alien ships descending. The world watched in a mixture of awe and terror. Jack Turner, a retired military strategist, was among the spectators, his seasoned eyes narrowing as he assessed the situation. "Never thought I'd see the day," muttered Jack, standing on the balcony of his apartment, his neighbor, Carl, by his side. Carl, a cybersecurity expert and longtime friend, replied, "And it's nothing like the movies, Jack. No warning, no communications, just here they are." Jack's phone buzzed insistently. He glanced at the screen to see a message from his former colleague at the Pentagon, General Davies. The urgency in the message was clear: return to service request, situation critical, meeting 0600 hours. "This isn't just a visit, Carl, they've got an agenda," Jack said, his voice low. The next morning at the Pentagon, Jack met General Davies and Dr. Eric Benson, a top astrophysicist involved with interstellar communications efforts. The war room was abuzz with activity, large screens displaying the hovering alien crafts that had taken position over major cities worldwide. General Davies wasted no time. "Jack, thanks for coming. We need your expertise. This isn't a drill." Jack nodded. "What's the situation, General?" Dr. Benson chimed in. "We attempted communication, but there's been no response. Their technology is beyond anything we've seen." The screens flickered, and an alien face appeared, its features stern. It spoke in perfect English. "I am Commander Zorath of the Zaltharian fleet. We demand your immediate surrender. Non-compliance will result in annihilation." The transmission ended as abruptly as it had begun. The room was silent, the threat hanging over them like a dark cloud. General Davies broke the silence. "Ideas, gentlemen? Jack, thoughts?" Jack's mind raced, analyzing the threat. "We need more intel. Let's not show our hand yet. Eric, any chance you can trace the transmission or tap into their communications?" Dr. Benson nodded. "I can try. It's a long shot, but we might catch something useful." "And I suggest we prepare for both talks and defensive actions," Jack added. "Carl, can you ensure our networks are secure? This is going to be a digital battlefield as much as a physical one." Carl, who had been brought in for his expertise in cybersecurity, responded immediately, "Already on it. I'll set up firewalls and prepare countermeasures against potential cyber attacks." General Davies approved the plans and set the team into motion. "All right, everyone knows their assignments. Let's move out and stay sharp. We need to be one step ahead." As they dispersed, Jack felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, but also a flicker of strategic excitement. This was his element, and despite the stakes, he was ready to defend his planet. Outside the Pentagon, as he headed to his next task, Jack looked up at the sky where the alien ships loomed. "We're not just going to roll over," he murmured to himself, "not without a fight." This was the beginning of humanity's greatest challenge, and Jack Turner was at the heart of the unfolding drama, ready to use his skills to coordinate a defense that would hopefully lead to a peaceful resolution, or prepare for the worst. In the early hours of the morning, Jack Turner sat hunched over a sprawl of maps and digital displays in a makeshift operations room deep within the Pentagon. The mood was tense, with coffee cups littering the table and sleep-deprived analysts murmuring over their keyboards. Carl sat nearby, his eyes fixed on multiple screens, monitoring the world's communications for any hint of alien activity. Jack rubbed his eyes, then focused on the task at hand. "Carl, anything new on their communications?" "Still quiet on their end. It's eerie, like they're watching and waiting," Carl replied, tapping away at his keyboard. "But I've set up traps and decoys across our networks. If they so much as sniff around, we'll know." Dr. Eric Benson walked in, his face lined with fatigue. "We've got something, Jack. We managed to intercept a partial transmission between two of the ships. It's not much, but it's a start." Jack leaned in, his interest piqued. "What did it reveal?" "Mostly garbled, but we caught references to their command structure and possibly a timetable. They're organized and on a schedule, which means they're here for a purpose, not just intimidation," Eric explained, handing Jack a printout of the transmission analysis. Jack scanned the document, his mind racing. "This tells us they're disciplined and mission-focused. We can use that. If they're following a strict protocol, unpredictability on our end could throw them off." General Davies entered the room, accompanied by a military aide. "Turner, status report." Jack stood up, facing the general. "We have a possible lead on their command communications. I suggest we exploit this with a counterintelligence op. Mislead them about our capabilities, maybe even feign a breakdown in command. Deception and confusion. Classic tactics, but effective. Proceed, General Davies affirmed, his expression grim but determined. Jack nodded, then turned to Carl. I need you to craft believable yet misleading digital noise. Anything that suggests chaos on our side. Got it. I'll create digital ghosts. Let them chase shadows, Carl said, a slight smirk breaking through his serious demeanor. With the plan set, Jack convened a quick meeting with a team of special ops leaders, explaining the importance of unconventional warfare. We won't win a straight fight against their technology, but we can outsmart them. Hit and run, sabotage, misinformation. Keep them off balance until we can find a weakness. Captain Lisa Moreno, one of the special ops leaders, nodded her agreement. My team is ready, Jack. We've trained for rapid, stealthy engagements. We can start tonight. As night fell, Earth launched its gambit. Under the cover of darkness, special ops teams executed precision strikes on isolated alien scouts, employing non-lethal weapons to avoid escalation. Meanwhile, Carl's digital ghosts flooded the alien communication networks, causing visible confusion among the ships hovering above. Jack watched the live feeds from the Pentagon, his heart pounding with each report of success. The aliens responded with scattered movements, clearly unprepared for such resistance. This is just the beginning, Jack murmured to himself, aware that the real challenge was still ahead. They had managed to surprise the invaders tonight, but he knew that the Zaltharians would retaliate with increased force. Yet, amid the uncertainty, a glimmer of hope remained. Humanity was not going down without a fight, and Jack Turner was leading the charge. As the night progressed, he began planning the next phase, knowing each move had to be bolder than the last. In the aftermath of Earth's unexpected counteroffensive, the tension within the Galactic Council chambers was palpable. Representatives of various alien civilizations watched a live feed of the Zaltharian ships above Earth, their advanced sensors capturing the chaos caused by the humans' deceptive strategies. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Jack Turner was called into a secure conference room at the Pentagon, where a live stream from the Galactic Council was being projected. General Davies and Dr. Eric Benson were already present, along with a few other key military and scientific advisors. General Davies briefed Jack as he entered. The Zaltharians have taken our actions to the Council. They're pushing for a mandate to escalate their response against us. Jack nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. What's the mood like up there? Any chance they'll deny the Zaltharians the mandate? Dr. Benson adjusted his glasses before replying. It's mixed. Some members see us as a potential threat that needs to be neutralized quickly, but others are cautious, surprised by our resilience and tactics. They're advocating for a diplomatic approach instead of further military escalation. On the screen, a Xantharian counselor, distinguished by his luminescent blue skin and elongated head, spoke. The humans have shown capabilities beyond our initial assessments. We must reconsider our stance and approach this matter with both caution and respect. Jack watched intently, absorbing every word. We need to capitalize on this division. If we can sway more of the Council to see us as equals, or at least as worthy of dialogue, we might avoid further conflict. Carl, who had just walked in, added, There's another thing, Jack. I've been monitoring interstellar communications, and there's a significant faction within the Zaltharian populace that's unhappy with their leadership's decision to invade Earth. There's potential there for internal pressure against their military actions. Jack's eyes lit up with strategic possibility. We need to reach out to that faction. If we can offer them an alternative to war, perhaps they can influence the Council or even their own government. General Davies agreed, his tone serious. It's a long shot, but it's the best option we have right now. Turner, I want you to work with Dr. Benson and Carl to draft a communication to the Zaltharian dissidents and any sympathetic Council members. Time is of the essence. As they set to work, the team discussed various strategies to craft their message. Dr. Benson suggested highlighting humanity's desire for peace and mutual benefit. We need to assure them that we are not a threat to the galaxy, but a potential ally. We should emphasize our respect for the Galactic Council and our willingness to contribute to galactic stability. Jack took charge of refining their approach, focusing on diplomatic language and ensuring the message was clear and compelling. This isn't just about survival now, it's about positioning ourselves as a legitimate power within the galactic community. Hours later, the message was ready. Using the Galactic Council's communication protocols, which Dr. Benson had managed to access, they transmitted their plea for a peaceful resolution and a call for support from within the Zaltharian ranks. As the message went out, Jack, Carl, and the rest of the team waited anxiously. The response to this message would not only determine the immediate future of Earth, but potentially its place in the broader universe. Jack felt the weight of his planet's fate as he watched the stars, hoping that somewhere, across the vast distances, minds were changing in their favor. The response from the Galactic Council was not what Earth had hoped for. Despite some support for diplomacy, the majority sided with the Zaltharians, influenced by fears of human unpredictability and potential as a galactic threat. Within days, the Zaltharian fleet intensified their assault, initiating a full-scale siege of Earth. In a secure underground facility, Jack Turner oversaw the Resistance's response. The room buzzed with activity. Officers and analysts worked tirelessly, coordinating defensive efforts worldwide. Large screens displayed real-time satellite imagery of Zaltharian ships deploying advanced weaponry and troops in key locations across the globe. Carl rushed over to Jack, his expression grim. "They're cutting off our communication lines and major supply routes, Jack. It's a systematic shutdown. We're getting reports of outages from all over." Jack nodded, his gaze fixed on the screens. "We need to keep our lines open at all costs. Use any redundant systems, go analog if we have to, and get our mobile units to protect those supply lines." As the battle raged, Jack coordinated with military leaders to mount a series of counterattacks. Despite their technological disadvantages, Earth's forces employed guerrilla tactics, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and utilizing improvised weaponry. Captain Lisa Moreno, leading a special forces unit in Europe, communicated via a secure line. "We've managed to hold the line at the Thames barrier, Jack, but it's only a matter of time before they regroup. We need reinforcements." Jack assessed the global strategy map, his mind racing. "Hold position, Lisa. I'm rerouting drones from Berlin to support you. Keep pressure on them. Every minute we hold them back is a minute we stay in the fight." The days turned into weeks, with Earth's forces managing to stall the Zaltharian advance in several key areas. However, the alien invaders continued their relentless assault, and human casualties mounted. In these desperate times, Jack's leadership was tested as he made tough decisions to prioritize resources and manpower. In a rare moment of quiet, Dr. Eric Benson approached Jack with a glimmer of hope. "Jack, while monitoring the alien communications, we stumbled upon something. Their ships have a vulnerability in their shield technology during weapon recharge cycles. We might be able to exploit this." Jack's eyes narrowed, considering the possibilities. "Detail every pattern you've found. We'll need precise timing to take advantage of this. Gather every pilot and drone operator who can make a difference." They planned a coordinated global strike, aiming to disable the Zaltharian fleet's shields momentarily and inflict significant damage. Jack briefed the pilots personally, emphasizing the risks and the necessity of their mission. As the operation commenced, the world held its breath. Fighter jets and drones swooped through alien defenses, targeting the fleeting vulnerabilities. Explosions lit up the sky as some of the Zaltharian ships faltered, their shields failing just long enough for Earth's weapons to make an impact. Back at the command center, cheers erupted as reports of successful strikes came in. Jack allowed himself a brief smile, but his satisfaction was short-lived. The Zaltharians, realizing the danger, began adapting their tactics, making it harder to exploit their weakness. "We've bought ourselves some time, but they'll come back harder," Jack warned his team. "We need to keep evolving our tactics, stay unpredictable." As Earth prepared for the next phase of the conflict, Jack's resolve hardened. He knew that the real test of humanity's spirit and ingenuity had just begun. They had shown they could hurt the enemy, and now they had to sustain their resistance and look for a breakthrough to end the siege once and for all. As Earth's defenses grew increasingly strained under the relentless Zaltharian assault, Jack Turner and his team huddled in the secure operations room, their faces illuminated by the glow of screens displaying the global conflict zones. The air was thick with urgency. Carl broke the tense silence. "Jack, we've made a breakthrough with the EMP technology. We think we've adapted it to specifically target Zaltharian shield frequencies. This could be the game-changer we need." Jack turned to Carl, a spark of hope in his eyes. "Can we deploy it on a large scale?" "We've retrofitted several drones with the EMP devices. They're ready for a field test," Carl responded, handing over a tablet with the operational details. Jack reviewed the information quickly. "Coordinate with Air Command. I want these drones in the air ASAP. We hit them hard and fast before they can adapt." The operation was set into motion with meticulous precision. Across the globe, EMP-equipped drones took to the skies under the cover of darkness, heading towards the largest clusters of Zaltharian ships. The command center was tense as everyone watched the live feeds. In the skies over New York, the first group of drones reached their target. The operators waited for the precise moment when the Zaltharian shields showed the slightest fluctuation, a pattern Dr. Benson's team had identified. "Now!" Jack commanded, and the EMPs were activated. The effect was instantaneous. Brilliant flashes of light filled the screens as the Zaltharian shields faltered and their ships became vulnerable. Anti-aircraft systems on the ground fired salvos of missiles, taking advantage of the temporary weakness. Several alien ships were hit, causing visible damage. Cheers erupted in the command center, but Jack remained focused. "Keep pressing. Deploy the next wave. Target the next group." As the operation continued, reports came in from other cities around the world. The EMP tactic was working. Human forces were beginning to push the Zaltharians back, exploiting every moment of weakness the EMPs provided. However, amidst the tactical victory, Dr. Benson approached Jack with a concerned expression. "Jack, I need to warn you. There's a high probability the Zaltharians will develop countermeasures quickly. We may not have much time before they adapt." Jack nodded, his face set in determination. "Then we use this time to prepare our next move. We've shown them we're not just survivors, we're contenders. Gather every piece of intel you can from the engagements. We'll need all the data to stay one step ahead." The next few days saw a shift in the dynamics of the war. Earth's forces, buoyed by their success, regained control of key positions. Meanwhile, Jack and his team worked tirelessly, analyzing the battle data and refining their strategies. During a strategy session, Captain Lisa Moreno, who had been on the front lines of the EMP attacks, shared her observations. "The Zaltharians are hesitant now. They're taking longer to regroup after each strike. We've got them rattled." Jack used this information to adapt their tactics further, focusing on mobility and unpredictability to keep the Zaltharians off balance. "We need to stay aggressive, continue the pressure, make them react to us, instead of the other way around." As Earth prepared for the next phase of its defense, the unity and resilience of its people shone brighter than ever. Jack's leadership had not only defended the planet, but had also given humanity a real chance at turning the tide in a war against a formidable alien power. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, victory seemed within reach. With Earth's tactical victories beginning to mount, Jack Turner decided it was time to take the fight directly to the Zaltharians. He planned a high-risk operation to infiltrate the Zaltharian homeworld, aiming to gather crucial intelligence and possibly capture one of their key leaders. The goal was bold: to force the Zaltharians into negotiations by showing them the cost of continuing the conflict. In the planning room, Jack briefed his chosen team, consisting of Captain Lisa Moreno and a select group of special ops trained in extraterrestrial operations. "This isn't just about gathering intel anymore," Jack explained. "It's about sending a message. We can reach them as much as they can reach us." Lisa nodded, her expression determined. "We understand, Jack. We'll get you the leverage you need." The team embarked on a stealth spacecraft designed to evade Zaltharian sensors. The journey through space was tense, with each member of the team aware of the stakes. Their craft landed discreetly on the Zaltharian planet, in a remote area identified by earlier recon missions as being close to a military installation. Using advanced cloaking gear, the team moved through alien terrain, a stark landscape under a pale violet sky. The Zaltharian military base loomed ahead, fortified and bustling with activity. Carl, back on Earth, guided the team through their earpieces. "You're approaching the northeast checkpoint. Thermal scans show minimal guard activity. Should be your best entry point." The team breached the perimeter without detection and made their way inside. They split up to cover more ground, with Lisa and two others heading for the communications center to download battle plans and any diplomatic communications that could indicate a readiness for peace talks. Meanwhile, Jack and another team member aimed for the detention block, hoping to find and extract a high-ranking Zaltharian officer. They navigated the alien corridors, their universal translators quietly converting posted signs into English. Reaching the detention area, Jack located their target, a Zaltharian commander known to have orchestrated several major attacks against Earth. Using a stun device, they incapacitated the guards and freed the commander, binding his limbs with restraints designed to counter Zaltharian strength. As they began their escape, the base alarms wailed. Lisa's voice crackled through the comms. "Sit rep, we've got the data. Rendezvous at Extraction Point Echo in 10 minutes. Jack and his team moved quickly, the weight of the captured commander slowing them down. Zaltharian soldiers swarmed the area, their own stun weapons firing. It was a close call, but the team managed to evade capture, reaching the rendezvous point just as their craft touched down. Back aboard their spacecraft, the Zaltharian commander was secured in a containment cell. Jack looked at him through the transparent barrier. "We don't want war," he said firmly. "Help us end this, and you can return to your people." The commander remained silent, his eyes wary but thoughtful. The return trip to Earth was tense, with the team anxious about the potential fallout from their audacious mission. Upon landing, they were greeted as heroes, but Jack knew the hardest part was yet to come. They needed to use the captured commander and the stolen intelligence to shift the balance of power. In the strategy room, Jack laid out the next steps. "We'll use what we've learned to expose vulnerabilities in the Zaltharians' war plan to the Galactic Council. Meanwhile, we'll start back-channel negotiations using our prisoner as a bargaining chip." With Earth's forces energized by the mission's success and the possibility of diplomacy within reach, Jack felt a cautious optimism. Yet, he remained vigilant, aware that the conflict could escalate further if their new strategies failed to bring the Zaltharians to the negotiating table. After the daring raid on the Zaltharian homeworld, Earth's position in the interstellar conflict had shifted significantly. With a high-ranking Zaltharian commander in custody and valuable intelligence in hand, Jack Turner saw an opportunity to pivot from military engagement to diplomatic negotiation. In a secure room at the Pentagon, Jack met with his core team, including General Davies, Carl, Dr. Eric Benson, and Captain Lisa Moreno, to discuss the strategy. The Zaltharian commander, securely detained and now a key asset, was being held in a specially designed containment facility nearby. "Our next move is crucial," Jack began, addressing the group. "We have the commander and the intel. It's time we use them to bring the Zaltharians to the table." Dr. Benson, who had been analyzing the stolen data, added, "The intel suggests there are significant factions within Zalthar that oppose the war. We could exploit these divisions to our advantage in negotiations." General Davies nodded. "I'll arrange a secure line to the Galactic Council. We need to show them what we've uncovered and push for a diplomatic hearing. It's time they see the Zaltharians aren't united in their aggression." Jack turned his attention to the tactical use of their prisoner. "Lisa, I want you and your team to prepare a presentation of our findings, including the potential for internal conflict within Zalthar. Make it clear we're not the aggressors here." Lisa acknowledged with a firm nod. "Understood, Jack. We'll make sure the Council can't ignore the facts." As preparations were underway, Jack requested a private meeting with the Zaltharian commander. Entering the containment area, Jack faced the commander, whose demeanor had shifted from defiance to resignation. "Commander Zorvath, your fleet is prepared to destroy millions of innocent lives for resources," Jack stated, keeping his tone even but firm. "But it doesn't have to be this way. Help us end this conflict, and I assure you, a fair chance to speak before the Galactic Council." Zorvath met Jack's gaze, his voice steady. "Human, you don't understand the pressures we face. But I see no honor in needless slaughter. I will speak at your council, but I speak for peace, not for Earth." Jack nodded, understanding the delicate balance of power. "That's all we ask." The meeting with the Galactic Council was arranged swiftly, broadcasted live across countless systems. Jack, along with his team, presented their case, highlighting the potential for peaceful resolution and the divisions within Zalthar. The council listened intently, the atmosphere tense. As Zorvath spoke, advocating for a ceasefire and diplomatic talks, murmurs of approval and dissent echoed through the chamber. After intense deliberations, the council voted to support a temporary ceasefire, urging both Earth and Zalthar to enter formal peace negotiations. Jack felt a weight lift slightly, though he remained cautious. "This is only the beginning," he reminded his team as they prepared to leave. "Negotiations will be tougher than any battle we've fought." In the weeks that followed, Jack led the Earth delegation in the peace talks. The discussions were arduous, with frequent stalls and setbacks as both sides grappled with deep-seated mistrust and differing agendas. However, the presence of Zorvath proved crucial, lending credibility to the possibility of a genuine reconciliation. Through a series of tough negotiations, a tentative peace agreement was drafted. It outlined mutual disarmament zones, shared resources, and the establishment of a bilateral council to oversee the ongoing peace process. As the final session concluded, Jack and his team felt a cautious optimism. They had managed to halt the immediate threat to Earth and opened a pathway to lasting peace, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of humanity. Reflecting on the journey, Jack realized that the true strength of Earth lay not just in its military capabilities, but in its ability to adapt, negotiate, and find common ground, even with the most unlikely of allies. The signing of the peace agreement between Earth and Zalthar marked a historic day. Held under the auspices of the Galactic Council, the ceremony was broadcast across countless worlds, showcasing the newfound respect and cooperation between humans and the once hostile Zaltharians. Jack Turner, standing beside representatives from both Earth and Zalthar, felt a mix of relief and cautious optimism. The weeks of tense negotiations had borne fruit, but the real work, he knew, would be in maintaining the fragile peace they had crafted. After the formalities, Jack returned to Earth, welcomed as a hero. Yet the gravity of Earth's new role in galactic affairs weighed heavily on him. He attended debriefings and strategy sessions, helping to outline the next steps for Earth's integration into the Galactic Council and the implementation of the peace agreement. General Davies met with Jack privately to discuss the future. "Jack, your leadership has not just saved countless lives, but has also opened a new chapter for humanity. We're on the galactic stage now, and there's no stepping back." Jack nodded, his thoughts on the future. "We'll need to be vigilant, General. Building trust with Zalthar and adapting to our role in the Council will require a level of diplomacy and military readiness we haven't seen before." As part of the peace agreement, Earth began hosting a series of cultural exchanges and joint scientific ventures with Zalthar. These initiatives were designed to build mutual understanding and cooperation, a foundation upon which the lasting peace would depend. Jack took a particular interest in these programs, often visiting the exchange sites and speaking with both human and Zaltharian participants. Seeing former enemies work together towards common goals reaffirmed his belief in the potential for unity and peace. In one significant project, Earth scientists collaborated with Zaltharian engineers to develop renewable energy technology using resources unique to Zalthar's environment. This not only helped to alleviate Earth's energy crisis, but also provided Zalthar with much-needed infrastructure improvements. Amidst these advancements, the personal toll on Jack became apparent. The years of conflict and tension had left their mark. Seeking a balance, he decided to step back from the front line of diplomacy and strategy, entrusting the ongoing work to capable successors trained during the crisis. Jack's final act in office was to establish the Earth-Zalthar Peace Institute, a facility dedicated to studying interstellar peace and conflict resolution. His retirement from active duty was not an end, but a new beginning. As he walked through the Institute's inaugural exhibition, Jack reflected on the journey. The displays depicted key moments of the conflict and the subsequent peace process, each artifact and image a testament to the resilience and adaptability of all involved. Looking around, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. Humanity had not only survived a galactic conflict, but had emerged as a key player in a broader universe. The road ahead would be challenging, but Earth was ready to meet it with open arms and a clear vision. As the sun set over the Institute, Jack met with old friends and colleagues, sharing stories and looking ahead to the future. The Earth was no longer an isolated player, but a thriving part of the galactic community, its voice important, its contributions valued. In the quiet moments of reflection, Jack knew that while his role in this chapter was ending, the story of humanity's place in the stars was just beginning. The challenges ahead were many, but so were the opportunities, and Earth was ready to meet them all, standing proud and resilient.